drove my wife's car to work, or actually to Birmingham today to go to the doctor. And it drives terrible. I don't drive that car that much, and I didn't realize how bad it was. I mean, you catch the crack in the road and it drags you all over the place. So I got some struts, some new bearings, some upper bushings for the strut caps. We're going to tear that apart. And morons, they pull out in front of you and they won't hit the gas pedal. But I've been driving the Passat around for the last 3 weeks. I've gone 310 miles on about three quarters of a tank of gas. It was full. I've gone 310 miles and I've still got a quarter of a tank left. So I finally washed it today. Got to get some interior in it. Get the air conditioner charged up. That's about all I know for today. It's Friday. Going to the doctor's again on Wednesday. My S80 in the building today. Been driving it. My wife drives it most of the time. I went and took it to town the other day and noticed, man, this thing wanders. And this is why. I mean, literally. Lower control arm's fixing to fall off of it. I got new ones, and I actually had a friend of mine that did a V70. He saved me all the spare parts, you know, the struts, the bearings, and I've got new bushings for the top, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing apart and see what's broke on it. Okay, this is what we found was wrong. It's hard to tell with me shaking. This lower ball joint is broken. But I have a new lower control arm, a strut, and a cap that goes right here. I've got all that, so I'll go ahead and change this side anyways. That's the first thing you take out there. You got 313 millimeters up here for the bearing. 221s down at the bottom. And an 18 for the control arm. And then there's your strut. That got that out. I don't want to take the lower control arm out yet, because then this whole thing will just hang and it'll pull on the brake line or pull on the CV axle. You know, you just want to do the strut part, get it in, and then you can put a little upward pressure with a bracket or something out here to where you can pop the lower control arm loose. That's got two 17 millimeters on the inside right there, and a 21 there, and then that'll pop loose because there's the lower ball joint nut. It was actually loose, but being that it was loose, it has wallered out the hole. I'll show you what I mean. That's a new control arm. The stud sits down in here, and it's the exact same size as the hole, and if it gets wobbling around, it's going to ruin the hole. So you're beveled on both sides for the ball joint. The nut fits on one side, This is actually, I believe that's the driver's side. But anyways, that's the case with that. Alright, with the strut off the car, this plastic cap just comes off, this nut comes off, and that comes off, okay? If this thing here is dug and ate into this rubber, these are notorious for ripping away under here. This bearing comes off, okay? And you can see this isn't torn up here. That's that isolator that I have in the car. These are actually still good, so I will reuse those, but you need it in a spring compressor to get it apart from here on out, because this is what's loaded right there. And we used to stand them on the ground, you know, put your foot on them and take them apart with an impact, but you can't do these because you got to use a pair of channel locks to get that nut loose. Alright, for this thing I'm going to make a stand. I've got this piece of 2x5 steel. It's pretty thick. This probably weighs 25 pounds, this set piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld some tabs on it this way, tabs on it this way. I've got another piece for the bottom. I'm going to make legs for it so it'll sit flat. And you got plenty of room for a strut to hang down below. And then we'll go ahead and get the tabs and stuff welded on it and get the legs on it, because I need this thing really mounted to use it. Alright, here's what it should look like assembled. These are just rough cut out. I'll clean everything up and weld it all together, and that should be sturdy enough for the stand anyways. Alright, there's the finished product so far. Okay, clean our welds up. Welded that little bar there is more to just help carry it and stabilize it in case you drop it. This thing probably weighs 75 pounds. Now what I'm going to go buy is a 3-foot piece of seat channel that I can drill bolts from the back, weld one across here and one across here, so I can put bolts to hold this thing here. This was originally bolted to a wall, and then that way, you know, you can remove it and do whatever you want with it. It's probably going to be an absolute bitch to carry together. This probably weighs 80 pounds or more, plus that. But that will make this more usable, because you can't really use it laying on the ground. I mean, you can flip it over and lay it on its back, but then it's hard to hold the strut, and then it just, you know, it's made to hang like that. So, alright, what I did is I took this 1/4-inch plate, drilled holes, welded some 7/16" nuts behind it for the top and the bottom, and I, you know, measured and cut holes so I can put both of these right there and weld them into place, and then that thing will fit as flush as it needs to be. I just got to grind those off, cool them off a little bit, and then we'll bolt the plates to this, set it on here, tack weld it, take it off, and then weld it up. Alright, got them all cleaned up. We'll just go ahead and mount the brackets to the presses, and then set it on there and tack weld. Alright, there's the finished product. It's up off the ground. Got a couple of wheels I'm going to put on it, and a little T-handle up here, just a bar going across. And the wheels will be up off the ground when it's like that, but when you roll it back, it'll roll so you can move it around. Yeah, it turned out all right. That's a pretty expensive strut compressor. So tomorrow I get to work on my car. There's the strut. I'm going to change that strut and that lower control arm right there to one of the new ones I have, and I'm going to do the other side also. And then hopefully this thing will quit wandering. But that's all I've done for today.